I've tried so many things to get rid of the acne on a natural basis. Nothing worked. It just kept coming back. Same thing with IBS. Everything that I read and found online didn't work. It was just like as soon as I started it through this program, it was like, bam, this is the right direction. Bam, this is the right direction.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Holistic Healing Podcast with Lorrie. And I think you've probably heard me say this before, but it's always so much fun and so exciting to be able to talk to the students in my Relief and Transformation course. And so that's what we're going to be doing today, is talking with one of my amazing students. And if you don't know me, I'm Lorrie Rivers, and I help people with long COVID and mecfs, chronic fatigue syndrome, and other chronic illnesses to learn how to fully recover. So Melody Flynn is one of my amazing students, and she's one of those people who is driven in a good way. And what I mean by that is that she is committed to taking the steps that she needs to do in this course to see the results that she wants to see. And those are the people that I love to work with, is people like Melody. So Melody, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Lorrie.
Yeah, and then she's also just a lot of fun and a wonderful person, as are all the students in the course, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody's amazing. Melody actually wrote something to make sure that she got everything in that she wanted to say, which I really appreciate. So Melody, why don't we start by you reading everything that you wrote down about what you're getting from the course and the changes that you're seeing, the shifts that you're seeing.
Absolutely, Lorrie. Thank you. So this is like a testimonial, and I'm actually going to read it out. I'll try not to be too monotone here, but I think just the information is so important that I really didn't want to forget anything. So here we go. So first of all, the reason for me taking Lorrie's program is that I've had long COVID since I'd say about December 2022 is when it really manifested pretty severely. So just to give you an idea of my symptoms, back in December and January, I had some pretty bad micro blood clotting issues, and it was causing feelings of having heart attacks on a frequent basis, plus severe sleep apnea, where I was waking up gasping for breath and with my heart really rapidly beating out of control. I also woke up with complete numbness in my foot a couple times. I called 911, I think 3 times during that period. I went to the ER twice. So it was pretty scary, but I ended up finding out about a couple enzymes called lumbrokinase and nattokinase, and that got rid of the microclotting, or at least it's managing the microclotting issue. So all of those symptoms went away. But what I'm dealing with now is really the inability to exert myself like I used to before. I used to play squash. I was very athletic, go on power walks and that kind of thing. So what happens now is that my heart rate elevates and has to work harder for doing really everyday things, especially showering and shaving my legs and doing my hair and makeup. That is like a major workout for me. And in addition, I just only have so much energy in any given day. I don't go on walks anymore. I certainly don't play squash. And so what I can do is some light yoga, and I do have a Stairmaster at home that I do lightly, and I monitor my heart rate when I'm on that. So that's just the reason why I ended up taking the course. But if I reflect, and there's a lot of reflection in this course, I'd have to say that I've really had 2 underlying chronic conditions for at least 35 years of my life, possibly longer. So before I go into those, I just wanted to see if Lorrie has any questions just at this point.
I just appreciate what you've brought up so far. So what you've been experiencing is what so many people out there experience with the post-exertional malaise, and just trouble having the energy to be able to do regular activities like taking a shower, like shaving your legs, like putting on your makeup. And not only that, but having that experience of POTS symptoms happening when you're doing those simple things that you don't think about when you're not dealing with that issue. It's just walking to the mailbox and getting the mail, big deal.
Yes.
But now it is a big deal.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you have to plan it almost.
Yes.
And of course it depends on what phase you're in. So yeah, keep on going, please.
Okay, perfect. So, as I mentioned, I really, when I go into self reflection, recognize that I've had two underlying chronic conditions for at least 35 years of my life. So, the first one is irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, it's called. And I think that's mixed with candida, which is definitely a fungal infection. So, just to give you a little bit of background on this, my mother really had a very swollen or extended stomach ever since I can remember and had issues with digestion. I believe I inherited this from her. And I think you'll see from Lorrie's questionnaire that this is very likely and an indicator of probably if you have long term chronic conditions, it can be inherited. So I think I was definitely the case for me. So for me, it really wasn't too bad earlier in my life, but as I got older, it got worse. And then in the past couple of years, I've had just a very swollen tummy. We're talking bloating, gas, pains in my stomach that would really go away temporarily if I took antacids or I was taking baking soda in water. And I'll have to say that probiotics were completely ineffective. I tried so many different kinds and I was just not getting any relief.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing a lot of research online, and I had heard from some other nutritionists online webinars to move to a plant-based diet and increase the variety of plant-based foods. So I thought, okay, I generally was eating meat and plant and what have you, but I tried to move to more of a plant-based diet. And I tried this for a few weeks. And to be completely honest with you, my symptoms got worse. My stomach pains were happening, like not just occasionally now, but they were happening like every single day. And I was taking antacids or the powder, like baking soda, sorry, like 2 to 3 times a day. And my stomach was highly bloated. So it was just getting worse and very concerning. I found Lorrie online and I started the Living from Inspiration program in mid-July of this year. And the first immediate...
It's called the Relief and Transformation
program.
Oh, but yes.
I'm so sorry, Lorrie.
No, that's okay. It's confusing because the website says we're living from inspiration, but the course is Relief and Transformation. So I just didn't want to confuse people. So please keep on going because this is fascinating. So y'all who are listening right now, this is so important because she's saying is that she was told to try out a plant-based diet because that was going to fix the IBS. So keep on.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I started the program in mid-July this year, and the first immediate change I made was my food and beverage intake, and based on the recommendation of Lorrie in the program. And so the basis of the program really I guess what I learned very quickly is to eradicate harmful parasites, bacteria, and fungus infections from the body. So it's really critical not to feed them and keep them strong because they're really resilient little critters. I would even call them resilient little bastards, to be honest with you. Sorry about that, but I couldn't resist. And these things dig in their heels, so you really need to weaken them in every way possible. And the first part of doing that really is with the food and what you drink. And so as per the program, I immediately cut out all carbs, all dairy, all legumes, all seeds, and all nuts, and all fruit. And so again, no starches, no fruit, no chips, no chocolate, no sugars. I started only eating meat and vegetables and healthy olive oil and avocado oils. And I excluded peas and corn as well because they're high in carbs. So in addition to that, I only drink water, sparkling water and herbal tea, non-caffeinated. I definitely don't have any fruit juices and I definitely don't have any alcohol. I actually had to quit drinking alcohol 7 months ago because with long COVID, my body was just rejecting the alcohol. So I've been clean in that sense for 7 months. So that's basically the diet. And I have to be amazingly telling you this, that once I radically changed my eating plan, my stomach started to feel better immediately. Within 3 days, the pains in my stomach were completely gone, and I haven't had to take any antacids since then. It was like a miraculous turnaround. I'd say that my stomach inflammation has reduced by about 85 to 90%, and I believe it will continue to do so as I start to treat with my fungal infections with medications. And I haven't reached that point yet, but I'm going to start doing that next week.
That was 3 days of being on the Relief and Transformation eating plan. And granted, you jumped in right away. And that works really well for some people, and for other people, you want to take it more slowly. But 3 days, Everything shifted.
I couldn't believe it myself, Lorrie, let's be honest. So just to continue on that note, I just want to highlight that I've done a ton of research, and knowing that inflammation is the cause of a wide array of very serious diseases like cancer, I'm incredibly grateful that I've been able to finally stop this inflammation in my stomach in its tracks. And again, taking 3 days for that to happen really to me is pretty miraculous. I'll add this in too, because this is a really good feeling for me, is just to give you a sense. I lost 4 pounds in the first week. And now that I'm 2.5 months in of maintaining this food and drink plan religiously, I have not gone off of it at all. I seem to have leveled off, and I've lost a total of 20 pounds, believe it or not. And I wasn't overweight to begin with, but I haven't been this slim since my 20s. And now I'm experiencing what a normal, non-inflamed stomach feels like. I can't even remember the last time I felt that. So it's an absolutely wonderful feeling. But keep in mind, I really am eating 3 full meals per day. I'm fully satiated. Like I don't feel hungry or crave snacks between meals. I'm not eating anything like chocolate or chips or anything. Like after the first week, the cravings completely went away of sugar and all of that stuff. And now it's really easy for me just to stick to the 3 meals per day. And so I'm not losing weight because I'm not eating. It's getting rid of all of the stuff that just created the inflammation and just didn't really belong there. So it's an amazing feeling.
I also wanted to say I'm loving hearing this from you, because I think we've touched on it in class a couple of times, but I don't think that I've heard the whole story like this, and it's very cool. And also to say that a lot of students say the same thing about the food stuff, that they're feeling satiated, they're feeling like they're not ravenously hungry all the time for the first time maybe ever even, and that their relationship with food improves. I love that you're saying that. And the other thing is that not only the inflammation in your stomach is reducing, but the inflammation in your body is reducing as well, which of course it's not as apparent because you can see it with the stomach bloating. And I totally, like, I've been there too. Yeah. So being able to see that physical difference is really satisfying, but also taking in that's happening throughout your body as well. That inflammation is reducing. It's because you're reducing the parasite load and the fungal load.
Yeah, and I didn't have this in here, but I'd like to add this in just since you brought that up. I've been reading that the spike protein from COVID is also highly inflammatory and toxic, and I am under the guidance and recommendation of Lorrie taking a supplement, an augmented NAC supplement for that. So the second chronic condition that I've had since I was probably about 18 is acne, and that's been mostly in the chin area, very consistently in the chin area for all of that time. So just to give you a little bit of a background, in my 20s, I was taking tetracycline for my acne for about 8 years. And tetracycline is an antibiotic, which I think Lorrie says right up front in her questionnaire, if you take antibiotics for a prolonged period of time, it's harmful to the gut microbiome. And I think I just became more susceptible to these parasite infections and bacterial and fungal infections. I'm definitely a candidate because of taking the tetracycline for so long. And then I stopped taking that. And then when I was about 30, I took Accutane for a few months, and that completely dried out my nasal passages and my lips. Never really quite recovered from that. And then since then, I've been taking Chinese medicine for probably a couple decades to manage the acne. Now, when I got, and it was manageable for quite some time, but when I got long COVID, the acne got worse. And right up until I started the program, I was breaking out like every single day on my chin. And I found that the worse my IBS got, the worse my acne got. So I think there was definitely a connection there. Happily, I'll report that after changing my food plan and just starting with the first 2.5 months of the program, doing some herbal recommendations, etc., I don't know exactly what made the difference. I'm assuming probably the food plan more than anything, but my acne has got considerably better week by week. And now that I'm 2.5 months into the program, I'd say my acne is about 95% gone. I haven't had a breakout in 2 weeks. And even then it was mild and it went away quickly. And you can see for yourself, I have really light makeup on. Obviously there's scarring there from many years, but I really am just not breaking out on a daily basis. And it's been 2 weeks since I've broken out. I can't even tell you how happy this makes me feel. Words don't convey after 35 years of dealing with this.
I'm getting goosebumps all over my body because not only is that feeling better for you just cosmetically and in the way that you look, but again, it's also letting us know what's happening in the body, that these things are getting better. Acne is actually a symptom of a lot of these parasite and fungal infections. Strongyloides especially ends up creating chronic acne. And it's amazing to me that even just with the eating plan and these changes that you made just before even starting to treat using medications, right, that you're already having these shifts. And it's interesting too, because just for you and for the people who are listening and watching right now, but that the post-exertional malaise is one of the last things for most people to resolve itself. But you're already I love that you're already seeing all these things that are shifting and changing already. That is just so encouraging.
Very much, very much. So I just have a little summary here just to wind it down. So right now, I'm taking my first monthly round of medications to kill off the parasites and the fungus. And my understanding from the program is it can take 8 to 12 months, possibly even longer, to successfully eradicate them and start to heal my long COVID conditions like what you just mentioned. I can't remember what it's called, but just my inability to exert myself and that kind of thing. Now, in the meantime, like I said, this program has helped me dissolve two chronic health conditions I've had for over 35 years, virtually overnight, which is to me miraculous. And I can honestly say that this program was one of the best investments I've ever made. In addition to the huge relief I feel by no longer dealing with the chronic IBS and acne conditions, I have a tried and tested course of action to heal my long COVID. I'll have to say I've learned invaluable information from this program, and I'm only 2/3 of the way through the course material. I've done a lot of internet searching, and I've never seen anything like this associated with long COVID in anything that I've researched. So to me, it's very novel, and I'm a heavy researcher, and honestly, I went from knowing hardly anything about parasites and fungus to I'm probably about a 7 or 8 out of 10 right now, and I'm still learning. These infections are really tricky to deal with, to say the least. There's a lot to it. And really, Lorrie has been a godsend in guiding me through this process. So just to close out, I'll say I'm very grateful to Lorrie for creating this program and helping me take the required steps to become the healthiest version of myself. And I see that happening into the foreseeable future. So thank you very much, Lorrie. Appreciate it.
You are so welcome. And it is an honor, it's an honor to be on this journey with you. It really is. You ask great questions, and y'all inspire me to find better and better answers and better approaches. And you were saying that you're about a 7 or 8 out of a 10 now as far as your understanding of parasites and things like that. And I would say that I'm not too far ahead of that, just because there's so much that we don't know. Yeah. And because and it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. And it's so satisfying when you do start to take care of them. And when you know that is the root cause, and you start to take care of them, and you start to see a difference in your symptoms with things that you thought were a mystery, that you thought were unsolvable before. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's been your experience or not. But
that's exactly it. Like, how am I've tried so many things to get rid of the acne on a natural basis. Nothing worked. It just kept coming back. Same thing with IBS. Everything that I read and found online didn't work. It was just like, as soon as I started it through this program, it was like, bam, this is the right direction. Bam, this is the right direction. So it was like, Lorrie, everything you say, I'm listening with very open ears because it's like, she was right about that. She was right about that. It's like, I am like seriously like paying full attention because the confidence that I have is amazing that I'm going to come out this the other end far healthier than I ever have been because I've gotten rid of these infections. Yeah, exciting stuff.
Yes, and you have a trip coming up, I know, that you were previously a little worried about because I know that when you're traveling with IBS, it's very difficult.
Yes. Yeah,
So how do you
absolutely.
feel about that trip coming up now?
I'm feeling definitely better. I have to realize I have to manage. There's a lot of potentially walking in this hotel I'm going to be staying at, so I have to be a little careful about overexerting myself. But just in terms of flying and stuff like that, I'm good on that front now. I feel confidence that that's not going to be a problem. It's just again more of the exertion side that I just have to be a little bit more careful with.
Yep. Give it a couple more months. I don't think
Yeah.
for you that it's going to take a full 12 months or anything like that. I think that we're going to talk to you again probably in several months and you're going to be like,
We'll do a
okay,
debrief.
okay, though. Okay, yeah, yeah. Melody, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for listening in to Holistic Healing with Lorrie podcast. Another reason that I love sharing these stories so much is so that you can see that it is possible to heal from these things, and that even things that you've been experiencing for your whole life, possibly you can heal from. And that's what we're working to do. There are answers. It's not a mystery once you know what's underneath it all, right? And then you start to see why your body's been responding this way, and even down to emotions that you might have been experiencing your whole life, or things like acne or all those things. So I'm going to stop babbling now. Thank you so much for being with us. Please share with your friends, and lots of love.